July the 9th, 2025. Because you're looking at a picture on the left of a fellow named Neville Roy Singham. He was identified as the main money behind the riots going back to the No Kings riots and probably way before that. And now looks like he's funding the riots against ICE across the nation. And there's a 15-minute video out there about something that happened in San Francisco. And it's really getting out of hand, the attacks on federal law enforcement. On the right, you're looking at Anna Paulina Luna. She's a Republican representative from Florida. And she announced that she is pursuing a formal effort to freeze the U.S. assets of Neville Roy Singham, tech billionaire linked to the Chinese Communist Party. So when you're seeing these riots under the name of anti-immigration, it is against that because they spent so much money to get the new voters in place. But what you're seeing is China, its hand in the involvement. And why is it so strong in California? We're seeing it in other places, but LA and San Francisco, going up into Washington along the West Coast, is really getting out of hand. It's because the Chinese have had influence there for many, many years, guys, going back 50 years or more. I remember 40 years ago, I was in a place called Huntington Beach, and we were staying at the Buena Vista Hotel. I was working over there, and it was all Chinese then, even the people that worked there. And you know, the port has been bought and sold and manipulated many times, but it looks like we're dealing with a Chinese takedown, or an attempt by the Chinese to take down the nation from within. And this guy, under the last 4 years before Trump got back in, no one would have even brought his name up. Now, she announced yesterday that she is pursuing a formal effort to freeze the U.S. assets of Singham, a tech billionaire linked to the Chinese Communist Party, after he refused to comply with a congressional request to testify regarding his alleged role in funding violent Marxist uprising across the U.S. Very violent. The Gateway Pundit reported last month, and we saw this, that Ms. Luna confirmed that the committee will issue a formal document request to Singham over his alleged financial support of the Party for Socialism and Liberation, called the PSL, the extreme Marxist group believed to be behind the violent anti-ICE riots in Los Angeles. Again, the one yesterday in San Francisco, guys, was unbelievable. It says, thanks to the investigative work of Data Republican, House Oversight will issue a formal document request to Singham regarding his funding of a communist group linked to the LA riots and the Chinese Communist Party. She continued, if he refuses to appear, he will be subpoenaed, and if he ignores that, he will be referred to the DOJ for prosecution. But freezing his assets really gets these billionaires in a bind, because that's what they've lived their whole life for, to get enough money to, as Tears for Fears said, everybody wants to rule the world. The good guys and the bad guys. It says, according to the report, Singham, a tech multimillionaire who resides in Shanghai, China, has funneled over $20 million into U.S.-based far-left organizations via dark money channels like the People's Forum and the No Cold War, both of which are openly pro-Beijing. The Party for Socialism and Liberation, a Marxist-Leninist group that advocates the complete dismantling of U.S. capitalism, was not only involved in organizing the L.A. riots, but was reportedly responsible for printing the signage, providing trained spokespeople, and coordinating demonstrations in other cities, including San Antonio and Oakland. Even more disturbing, the same Singham-funded network also financed and coordinated pro-Hamas encampments and student uprisings at Columbia University and other elite campuses early this year. and we're still trying to get over the stink of that mess with some of the people involved. It says, now with Singham refusing to answer Congress and allegedly invading a subpoena delivery while holed up in communist China, Representative Luna is calling for more drastic measures. She wrote, Singham, the billionaire communist with ties to the CCP who funded the LA riots and used immigration and Mexicans as a Trojan horse for communism, is hiding from our letter requesting testimony. Now, how far does Singham go back? Does it go back to Mayorkas and his puppet masters? So let's look at the actual letter itself. It was transmitted electronically. It says to Neville Singham, Mr. Singham, the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform is investigating your reported funding of various extremist entities in the U.S. Reportedly, you have supported the groups with the aim of causing destruction and division in our country, including most recently through ongoing riots and violence in L.A., California. Moreover, the committee is concerned that you may be engaging in such activities on behalf of the Chinese Communist Party, and that your activity may violate the Foreign Agents Registration Act, FAIR 22, and other federal laws. To this end, we request that you provide documents and information demonstrating your funding and control over certain far-left entities, including the Party for Socialism and Liberation, called the PSL, a communist political organization that has fielded presidential candidates since 2008. Now, guys, you talk about getting down to the deep state, and it's not all right here in our country, is it? It says on July 10th, 2024, Marco Rubio, then Vice Chairman of the U.S. Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, and Lindsey Graham, then Ranking Member of the U.S. Senate Committee on the Judiciary, wrote to Attorney General Merrick Garland, raising concerns about your activities on behalf of the CCP. The Biden Department of Justice failed to curb your support of civil unrest because they were behind it, involved with it, paid off to allow it, maybe would be a more accurate way. The Biden Department of Justice failed to curb your support of civil unrest, and your activities have recently expanded to include the foment of unrest and civil disobedience in Los Angeles, prompting President Trump to call into the National Guard to counter attacks on federal law enforcement officials. According to data scientist Jenica Pounds, you are the main backer behind the PSL, which has organized nationwide protests, including the LA riots. Now, let's go back just a few sentences to where it says you've funded a party for the PSL, a communist political organization that has fielded presidential candidates since 2008. Who was that candidate, guys? And from there on, I don't think Trump is involved with any of that, and if he was, we would not be getting this information we're getting now. But it says your connection to the PSL is concerning, and not only because of its role in the ongoing riots, but also because of the PSL's China ties and other recent activities. But I think it's good news because the deep state is really much deeper than just the D.C. swamp. It's really worldwide, involved in just about every tentacle of that evil octopus that you could think about or even describe. But anyway, guys, I wanted to point this out. There's other good information coming out, and what's happening is the left is realizing that the right side is starting to dig out the demons. And so what's going to happen now? When a demon is trapped and cornered, they're going to get very violent and very dangerous. Again, the closer you push them in the corner, the more they're wounded, and they're wounded. The more drastic their reactions will become. They will expose themselves, but it will be very dangerous. Again, there's a video that I will link to, guys, that's about a little less than 15 minutes from San Francisco. And look at what's going on there. Again, the demons are raging, and it's becoming very dangerous. And so as we're starting to see maybe a slowdown in LA, but when ICE is now going again up into San Francisco area, there it looks like almost a zombie mob attacking them and trying to block them coming in and out of the courthouse, getting people in and out of the entire 9 yards. Very violent, crazy looking. But again, it's the same group, I think, that we saw with the Antifa and BLM riots. And so, same paid protesters. They busted guys around a dozen in Texas. And now they're being charged with attempted murder on federal agents, I think. And none of them are Hispanic, except maybe 2. None of them are black. It looks like white, deranged, lip-tarded college students that have been brainwashed. Let me see if I can get a picture of that real quick. Now, when we talk about the infiltration of politics from people like this guy, Singham, then you understand that that includes the invasion and the political takeover of the lip-tarded colleges, right? Anyway, this is, again, yesterday, attempted murder charges for left-wing extremists involved in planned ambush on ICE officers in Texas with intent to kill. That's exactly what they were doing, guys. And so this, again, you can read about it. I'll link to the article. But these are not, may have been involved in BLM, but none of these people here are black. Some of them are, a couple of them are Hispanic. But again, the same paymaster that we're dealing with now, and I'm sure he is in cohorts with a few others like Soros and that bunch. But again, the Singham guy is kind of like the key to opening that doorway to drain this part of the swamp. And because of the money involved, and we saw guys so evil come from China, and you know what I'm talking about, dealing with the roll up your sleeve and all of that. And it's still coming. You're looking at the face of it here. But I'll link to this. You can go and read their names, their history, and all of that. And they look deranged. They look like they're getting ready to run for the Democratic Party. Mugshots, derangement, brainwashing. And it goes, in my opinion, it reminds me of in the Albert Pike letter to where it says, we will unleash the nihilist. And that's what we're seeing, I think. Anyway, guys, I just wanted to come in with this. I think it's good news, both here in Texas, what we're looking at, what's going on with Ms. Paulina Luna, and the video that you're going to see, I'm going to link to, with what's going on in San Francisco, because something's got to happen very quick. And so that's why I want to share that video with you. And you guys share it also, because people need to realize how bad and how desperate, again, the devil gets when he's cornered. And he's raging back and forth right now because he knows his time is short. And thank goodness that we didn't get the last administration put back into office, if you know what I'm saying. But again, they're talking about this guy being tied in with this type of people, illegal voting, manipulation, money into the politicians that they want to be put in place with the backing and guarantee of we got the voting machines too. This guy and his group really do a lot of damage. Probably not just in this nation, in any nation that they wanted to manipulate, but we are the most powerful, and I'm very proud to be an American. Anyway, guys, I think it's a bit of good news that this exposure is happening. Working and watching on a lot of different things right now. But right now, this is a heads up. Be safe and check out the links.